So first one, trust the process.
Yep.
I think that's just with anything that you're just going through in life. So when it comes to working out, just trust the process. It might not happen, but when you look back at old photos of yourself, you'll be like, damn. Like
Me and her do that all the time. I'm like, oh my
and
God.
then second, I heard a lot of coaches say this and it really stuck with me, but movement is medicine.
Mm.
So I think keeping that in mind, like it doesn't always have to be medicine for your body, but it's more medicine for your mind. If I ever feel like I'm going through a rough period or I just need it means I just need to move. And I
Yeah.
think this place is a really
Yeah.
good reinforcement of that.
Yeah.
So
Welcome to Real Women, Real Results, the podcast where we go beyond the reps and dive into what it really takes to live a stronger, healthier, and more confident life. I'm your host, Jamie Revelle, women's fitness expert and founder of W3 Body Women's Training Gyms in Chicagoland. Each week, we'll bring you real stories, expert insights, and the tools you need to create real results. Let's get into it. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to Real Women, Real Results. I'm your host, Jamie Revelle, and today I'm super excited to introduce you to two guests. They're actually sisters, Natalie and Julia Vock. Welcome, ladies. And they've been a part of our W3 Body community for over a year, right?
yeah.
I want to say like
Yeah.
early.
A year and a
Actually,
half.
yeah.
I started
Awesome.
last January.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you referred your sister, which is
Mhm.
great. Cool. And not only have they shown up consistently, built strength, and seen amazing results, but they've also referred other women to the gym because they truly believe in what we're doing here. We're going to dive into their journey as sisters, what keeps them motivated, and how sharing this experience together has shaped more than just their fitness. So let's get into it. So let's start from the top. How did each of you guys hear about W3 Body and what made you decide to join?
You wanna go for it? Me? Well, you start.
So last year, I was looking at a bunch of different things that were online, like, because I wanted to do a gym, but I didn't want something like a normal gym. Because before I was going to Anytime Fitness, but I need somebody to give me direction. I need somebody to tell me like what to do, stuff like that. So then I was just online. I remember this. It was like 3 in the morning. I was researching all these different places. And then I had found your place and I was like, all right, let's try this out, which was very uncomfortable for me because I was like, I knew nothing about this place, but I just saw like the reviews I read, the Berwyn location, the Elmhurst location. And then I just, from other customers in the past, like they said that these places have been around for years and years, like even when my parents were younger. So then I think it was Luann who had reached out to me. I still have the first email from when she contacted me. And then I scheduled my tour to come and see the place. And then that's literally it. Just randomly one day at 3 in the morning, just signed up for it. And then that was it.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then yeah, just I looked at other places too, obviously, but this like accommodated all my needs. Cause like I said, I wanted somebody that like I wanted to find a trainer through here. Big thing for me was just losing some weight, being a little bit healthier, just word of mouth too online.
Yeah. Curious when you talk about when you're looking, what you were seeking out was guidance.
Mm-hmm.
What made you be like, I need guidance? Like, I need someone to help me. Because I oftentimes, when new members come in, I always like to ask that. Why did you, let's say they had previously started or they were previously on a fitness, journey or routine, and then they stopped. And I'm like, why did you stop? And they'll be like, because I didn't know what to do
Yeah.
or I didn't get results. I didn't
Yep.
have any structure. So I always like to find out, well, then in your words, in your terms, what is going to get you to make sure that you have that structure so you do get the results this time? And I always find they're typically like, I need help. I need guidance.
Yeah.
So
Because
is that kind of where you were
me
at?
and her, well, when we first started off, I used to get out because I work, primarily nights. We would get out. It'd be like 12 o'clock at night and we'd go to the gym, 30-minute workouts. We thought we were doing something.
In the middle of the
In
night.
the middle of the
Oh,
night. She had to
wow.
be up in the morning.
Yeah.
We would do 30-minute workouts thinking that but we weren't eating right. So it really did not matter at that point.
Mhm.
So then we were like, okay, we're not losing any weight. We're not seeing any results. We're tired. We're more fatigued. So I don't know. I just literally that was it. We were kind of like we're not getting any type of structure or results with doing what we're doing right now. Right? Can't
Yeah.
you agree with that? Right? Like
Yeah.
we were like, okay, these 30-minute workouts aren't. And then also too, when you're in the gym, it's easy to get distracted being on your phone. It's easy to be distracted, like not knowing what workout to do. Like I need somebody. That's why I love having a trainer because she's on us,
Yeah.
on us
Right.
consistently. And it's also good. Somebody that holds you accountable, somebody that's checking in with you every week, which Liz is really good about, because I agree with that. Like you tend to get lazy.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Or you lack variety. I mean, there's so many things.
And we don't have the knowledge. We could learn, right? But I just would rather somebody just tell me this is what you do every week. Okay. Like how Liz is with us every week. Every week we go up and wait. She checks in. How's your sleep? Et cetera. Stuff like that.
How's your nutrition? How's your water?
Yeah. Yeah, literally. Because we sometimes we'll get not lazy, but it's just like some weeks we're tired more than the other.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the beauty of having a coach, a guide, right?
Yeah, we love that. We love Liz.
Yes. We love all the coaches.
Yes. And how about you, Jules? How did you hear about us?
So I knew that Natalie had maybe like a month in already in the gym. So for me, it was just kind of like right time, right place. So my first workout was the
A sweetheart.
What with your sweetheart.
Oh, yeah.
And I was doing those workouts with Natalie in the gym at like midnight, but I just was like, okay, like I'll try it. Transparently, that was a very hard workout to start with.
Yes.
But
That's not our goal.
Yeah.
Actually, just for context, for anyone listening, the Sweat with Your Sweetheart workout is like the one day we allow guys in the gym to work out
yeah.
with their ladies or their moms or whomever it might be. And so, like, our goal is to kick their butt.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it kicked my butt, especially because I was just so new to high intense workouts. So, like, obviously, my body just wasn't used to it yet. And I think from there, I just was like, okay, I'll stick with it. So, it was just kind of like right time, right place. But
Yeah.
now, when I look back, like, I feel the meaning of everything and I feel a lot more confident and stronger just from that one workout. I really kicked my butt. So,
Right? That was a really
Sister,
yeah,
right?
my
Yes. Awesome. So, were the strength workouts something totally new for you ladies?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because people I feel like always tend to think when you do a lot of strength training, you look like manly, you have a lot of muscle. So that was my biggest thing because I was like, I don't want to look manly, I don't want to look muscular, but then I'm like, no, like you want to look like that because you're shredding your body, you're losing fat loss, percentage as well. But the strength training is always more effective. I've noticed that's more effective than anything. Like we do the team trainings once a week, but we do more primarily, strength training. And I feel like that's very effective. But that was definitely something new because you're working all parts of your body. You're going up in weight every week, but very effective. But it was definitely challenging at first and then you're learning. You don't know how to do the movements the correct way. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that.
There's a lot of stuff. Yeah. A lot of stuff. We also think about when we program them balance, core, stability, with team training, agility, mobility. Like, yeah.
I want to say one thing that I notice more as I'm doing my sessions, like when we do the finisher, and then we do how would you say the opening?
The ramp.
The ramp, like in the beginning, right? I understand why we do those things because when we're doing the high intensity like workouts with the strength training, it's kind of already a intro movement to what we're doing in the workout. So I find that very helpful.
Yeah.
Because like I'll do a movement and I'm like, oh, we did this in the beginning. So the programming is amazing because I feel like that takes a lot to structure and just to organize. So
Thank you for
kudos to you on that because I think about that stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's hard. You got to rhyme and reason. You know what I mean?
There's a reason, a method to the madness, as I like to say, but it's like a giant puzzle every month, plugging and playing with it. And
it has to flow.
Making it well-rounded and thinking too about, not going from movement to movement and your grip strength. I mean, we're not perfect. And sometimes we're like, oh, that might hurt a little bit or whatever, but we try to think about all those different things.
Oh, and it shows. I see that. I see the flow of it all, know?
I think to add on to that too, it's the progression. Like I think each month feels very fulfilling because once you reach like the end of June, for example, like you're like, okay, like I gained in strength, like I moved upward, I can do more reps. So I think just that alone is very good to see, especially on paper, but then when the new month happens, you're like, okay, I got to start back from round one.
Right.
Which I think is really good too, that you change it up like that because that keeps us on our toes. We don't get too comfortable with doing the same thing all the time.
Yep. Yeah. It keeps it fresh, but also gives you the opportunity over 4 to 5 weeks to master the movement and then to see the progress, which is so nice.
Yeah, we love that.
So speaking of just like getting into these workouts and coming in and, agreeing to come to this crazy workout that we did. What is your why? What was your original motivation?
This may sound stupid. I don't want to say it sounds stupid, but I feel like a lot of women go through a lot of body dysmorphia, right? Where we look at ourselves constantly in pictures, we look at ourselves like in the mirror, we dissect and we analyze how we look.
Yeah.
For me, the biggest, I can't speak on her, but this is why I was researching because I developed really bad body dysmorphia where I was wearing clothes that were bigger than what I was. And I was never like considered like quote unquote fat, right? But I would wear like 2X's, but I'm actually a medium, right? But that messes with your head a little bit, right? So I would see pictures of myself and I got into this mindset where I was like, hey, I don't want to take pictures because I don't like how I look. So plain and simple, I told myself, I don't want to feel like that. I want to take pictures, capture memories, but be happy with how I look.
Yeah.
So I would find myself avoiding little things like that, like not taking a picture because I did not like how I looked.
Wow.
Not that I didn't like how I look, but I'm like, I could probably lose some weight or I look a little chubby in this or vice versa. So that's what really did it for me, why I researched and found the spot that I wanted because I was just who I don't want to be self-conscious. I want to be able to wear what I want. I want to look good, look confident. But that was the biggest thing for me. If you were to ask me why, it's that,
Yeah,
you know.
that's huge, and I
Yeah.
can feel, like, the emotion that comes from that. The way you painted that picture, it's in my head of just, like,
Because
I would
women are
never
so
want
hard.
anyone to feel that way.
Yeah, women are so hard. We're our own worst critic. But also too, I just was like, I'm tired of being self-conscious. I want to like
Yeah.
look good, feel good. If you have a good mindset, you're gonna look honestly, I feel like that has changed so much for me positively. Cause when I first started working out, I was even working out in oversized clothes.
I remember.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was literally working out in like big black shirts and they didn't even fit me. And then eventually I was like, wow, like I could do this. I lost the weight a little, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But that's my why. For you, I don't know what you
Yeah.
would consider.
Mhm.
I think originally it was for like the physical aspect. However, because like I just remember growing up and compared to her, I was always the bigger one. I remember being on the volleyball team and the coach looking at me like kind of afraid that I wouldn't fit into the uniform. So like I think there's moments like that where I just go back and I feel very proud, but all of it really comes back to my mental health, and that's something that I'm an advocate for. That's something that I struggle with like every day. So for me, working out originally started because of the physical outcomes that can come from that, but now it's just more mental. Like I need it for my sanity. I
Hmm.
realize like this hour of this day is what I can really focus on and not think about the outside world or think about the thoughts. And then when I leave a workout, I feel very refreshed.
It's
I
like
feel a lot of
Euphoric.
clarity.
Yeah.
totally.
Like an
Yeah.
adrenaline.
Clarity.
Good adrenaline.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
I
That's awesome.
I think
Yeah.
mental clarity is just huge for me. And I think if you're just doing all the right things at the end of the day, it'll show.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I think having something that's motivating for you outside of the physical aspect
mhm.
keeps people really
Yeah.
engaged.
Yeah.
It's because it's almost like knowing that you're not going to feel great if you don't work out. To me,
Yeah.
that's motivating. Like
Yeah.
just once you get into the habit and the
Oh
routine.
yeah.
So,
Like don't get me wrong, like getting up early is like I'm like, oh my God, I'm tired sometimes, right? But then you're like, oh, in the first 20 minutes I'll be fine. You know
mhm,
what I mean? And
absolutely.
that's rewarding enough just getting out of bed sometimes. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So I know you ladies come in oftentimes to the same workouts, or right? Will you try to pair the times that you come in?
I would say like 80-20 because there are
Okay.
some days our schedules don't align, but yeah,
Of course.
most likely.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So what's it been like doing this workout fitness journey, health journey together as sisters? Do you feel like you push each other, or is there ever competition between you two? You
Hon
both have gotten such incredible results. So
Thank you.
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Honestly, I feel like me and her are kind of like, because we're insanely close as it is as sisters. So I feel like a lot of sisters go through this period where they're either really jealous of each other or they're like, oh, well, why can't, I look like this or vice versa. But I feel like her and I have kind of had a very good, humble hold on this. We hold each other accountable as well because, like, for instance, like we live together, right? So our cheat days are aligned almost all the same. So if one slips up versus the other one's like, you're having a cheat day this day or vice versa, or like, me and her, I don't know how consistent you are with tracking every day, but I track every day, everything I eat, I weigh out everything. Like
Wow.
I highly recommend that to anybody that wants to lose and eat in a calorie deficit, because that's literally how I did it. I work out a lot too, but all that matters is what you're really putting into your body at the end of the day too, you know? But me and her, I feel like we're kind of in each other's corner. Like, it's very positive, you know? Like, and we're kind of like, because I feel like since I was the one that started it, I feel like she was like, oh, wow, if she could do it, I could do it. It's like a positive thing. When you have that good support system, though, that helps it keep it flowing, you know?
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah. And positive.
yeah, like, honestly, because I mean, me and her, like, we kind of, well, honestly, we just hold each other accountable with a lot of stuff.
And I think to add on to that too, like obviously going back to like I'm taller, she's
Yeah.
shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a really good learning experience. Like if she was shedding the weight faster than me, then I think that was just a good way of understanding like how our bodies work. And
Yeah.
that's something that when you're in the gym and let's say you're around all these different people, you're around different bodies. So I think the first and foremost is to listen to your body, understand how it works. Like how does it burn calories? Like how does your heart monitor look when you're doing a high intense
Yeah.
workout? I think just because we are sisters, we're still very two different beings at the end of
Absolutely.
the day. So I
Mhm.
think that's just been a really good learning experience
Mhm.
too. And now, like, took me a little more time to shed the weight, but now I see it
Yeah,
through and through. So,
definitely.
Mhm.
Well, and speaking to that is also your calorie needs. Someone
mhm.
who's shorter, typically their calorie needs would be a little bit less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
understanding that and not starving yourself because, well, my sister's eating this. So I think it's awesome. Like you guys seem to have a really healthy relationship in terms of that competition. Well,
Mhm.
we won't even say competition, accountability
Mhm.
with each other, because I could see if it was the opposite, like that could turn pretty negative. So
Mhm.
kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
Do you feel like this experience has brought you closer in any unexpected ways?
Say so. I think it made us a lot more stronger, and I
Mhm.
think it showed our dedication.
Mhm.
You know, I think if you look at photos of us
We
back
look at pictures of
then.
ourselves all the time. We're like, "Oh my god, we've come a long way."
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a short period of
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
you know, like just being members for a year and a
Year and a half,
half
yeah.
max, like, wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, well, let's talk about those results. Like,
Mhm.
do you have any numbers to share? And not that it's all about numbers, but I
No.
just knowing your results, like you look at your before and after photos and it's like, it's incredible. And I remember when you used to wear baggy clothes and it's like, now she comes in, crop tops and short shorts. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
awesome to see just like that confidence blossom. So
Yeah. So
tell
when
us
I
about it.
started, I was originally okay, so I want to explain why I wanted to lose weight. So I had went to the doctor. This is why it's very important to get your checkups. And she told me that my cholesterol was very high. And I'm 29. So at the time I was, I think, 26, 27. Yeah, because this was before that. So she told me you need to lose some weight. Like plain and simple. She gave me a list of all the stuff I needed to eat, but she was very I kudos to my doctor because I know that's hard for women to hear, but she
Yeah.
straight up was like, "You need to lose some weight." She's like, "You're 4'11". She's like, "You're 185 pounds almost." Like it's considered that's why not quote unquote obese, right? But like for my height, too much for me, you know? So that was my thing. I was like, okay, I need to lose some weight. I need to get into it. So I started at 183. That's why anybody that I tell about this place, I tell them calorie deficit, tracking, just weighing out, portion control, everything. Because you could still enjoy the foods that you want, but you have to just do it in moderation. So I started at 183. And then when I started counting all of my calories, that's when I had my first trainer. She helped me figure out I was eating like 1,800 calories a day. Then I got down to 156. Then I did what the body naturally does. I hit a plateau. So now going from 183, I'm down to 129. And that's just keeping the rhythm of what I've been doing going.
Wow.
So I went back to the doctor and she was so amazed by how everything helped me and got better for me. My body fat went down. I was almost 36% body fat. I'm down to 21. She literally was astounded because she was like, "What did you do?" And I told her I just lived a healthier lifestyle. I started to work out and I care about my nutrition. So I completely transformed all my numbers. Everything is healthy. I think I even remember in the beginning showing you like this is another big reason why I wear my heart rate, my Apple Watch, my savior, because I have my fitness app on here and this was telling me even my sleep improved, getting up earlier in the
Yeah.
day. Like before I used to sleep really late into the day. Now I get up, I do a workout, I'm up for the day, I feel more productive. I'm like this thing even tracked how my sleep improved. I think I remember setting that to you a long time ago where my resting heart rate was even
I
better.
do remember that.
So all of that scientifically has helped me like amazingly. So I lost 53 pounds just with this program, which highly recommend to everybody. Love this freaking place. Yeah, that's where I started off just due to having high cholesterol, honestly. And then my doctor being like very upfront and telling me, you need to lose some weight.
Yeah.
And yeah, but number wise, I think I'm at a happy now. I'm not trying to lose any more weight. I'm at my toning and maintaining phase, but which I'm still doing within this program, obviously. But number wise, that's just where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
You've lost a lot of weight too, still,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started at 215 and now I am at 155.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys.
So like
Congratulations. I was ever watching this, I was clapping. That's so awesome.
and like to give it context, I remember being 9 years old. I was getting a physical and I weighed 140 and I was obese. So this is to me like so surreal that I can even reach this number. But it's even beyond just the numbers. It's, going inside like with the metrics. Like my BMI originally was in the high 30s. Now it's 27. Muscle mass is increasing. So it's like for me, now that I'm
Yeah.
at that number, obviously, if I keep doing what I'm doing, the weight will drop, but it's more of just looking within, like, figuring out that fat loss percentage, the muscle, gain, so
Yeah.
but yeah, just a year and, like, it's just crazy what dedication can do and putting
Absolutely.
your mind to it, so
Knowing that it will work
yeah.
and that it
Yeah.
takes time and
Yeah.
just focusing on being consistent and that
Yeah.
it's not an overnight process
Yeah.
and all of those things. It's to me, I feel outside of those numbers, it's like the pride I think that
Yeah.
comes with it.
Yeah.
Like being proud of the consistency, but the dedication because
Mhm.
sadly most people aren't that dedicated.
Yeah.
But they can be. Like the results are achievable
Mhm.
Yeah.
and
I want to say
that
something that
confidence.
helped me a lot in the beginning of my journey. So I work out at both locations in Berwyn and Elmhurst, both of us do. And in the locker room, it says that a workout is 1 hour, which is 4% of your day. And that changed my whole my mindset, like overall, because I sometimes struggle getting up early. I was never a morning person. But once I started getting into the habit, I was like, you know what? Like, that's literally only 4% of my day. Like, so that helps, I feel like us a lot, just getting up. And then once we're done, like she said, it's like a big euphoric. We're like, oh,
Like
okay,
the
we got our workout.
dopamine.
Literally, like we got our workout done. Like that's what a great way to start the day.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
And
that
you're
quote is very great in my mindset, at least.
yeah. Well, I'm glad that that's resonating.
Yeah.
That's why we put those little
I
quotes
love
up there.
that. I love that.
Yeah, and just expending that energy is going to help you sleep better and being active and all of those things. And then of course if you sleep better, you're going to have more energy,
Yep.
for the day and even that's where it helps mental clarity because then your brain needs energy too. So
Hmm.
there's all of those different benefits, which is awesome. Is there a proud outside of course these results and that might be your answer here, but outside of that, is there a proud moment that stands out for either of you, like a breakthrough in a workout or a compliment from someone that just hit differently? Or I'm sure the doctor saying to you, like, what?
Yeah, she was shocked. Well, you go first because I need a minute to think about that because I have a few in my head that go ahead.
I feel like it's more of just, like, my body's able to handle it more. Like,
Mhm.
I think if I were to look back from when I first started and then do team training now, I'm like, "Oh, I don't feel as, tired." Like, I can do f I know what it is now. I could do 5 regular push-ups.
Yeah.
For me, that's, like,
Yeah.
so
Right?
small and insignificant.
So true.
But for me, like, I could never do a push-up. My next goal is to do a pull-up. Like, for me,
Awesome.
it's like I just try to find, like, those little metrics of success that I can really follow.
Yeah.
I see KPIs, like, I see that. So that's those are my KPIs. It's like, do a pull-up by the end of the year. Like, I think it's just something to move towards
Mhm.
besides just the weight loss, because
Yeah.
it's like I know I'm getting stronger and
Yeah.
I'm feeling
I agree
it,
with you on
so
that because now we could do like the pull ups, we could do push ups.
yeah.
I wasn't even
Or
able to do
even
one push up before.
running too,
Yeah.
like, I
Your endurance for you
yeah.
because she used to be afraid that she'd get lightheaded and get faintish.
Yeah.
So I feel like your endurance for you is a big thing.
Yeah, and I did a 5K with
Yeah.
you, so
Yeah.
it's,
That's
just
great.
Yeah.
little things like that, I think, beyond just looking at the number on the scale, it's like
Yeah.
you can feel yourself getting stronger, and I
Mhm.
think that to me is just always motivating, and then when I look at my arms, I'm like, "I have muscles."
Yeah.
Yeah, everything that you're
So
saying, I agree with. Yeah. Just to feel mentally and physically stronger is such a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then you have people that are like, wow, you look good. And then it's all so positive over here too, you know? Like, that's another big thing I would say that's really good that to have is the positive energy. And, like, we're all, like, just cheering each other on over here. Like, it's so great over here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree with all that.
Yeah.
Like, to be, like, able to do those little things because
Yeah.
some people can't do that, you know? I couldn't do a
Yeah.
push-up when I started.
Or they think they can't do it. And I
Yeah,
think,
right.
like, there's just it's a learning experience. It's a
Mhm.
learning curve, and you just have to really put yourself through it each day and understand it's like change is not linear. It's up
Mhm.
and down a lot.
Yeah.
So you have to go through it, and you also just have to go through it as a sponge. That's kind of like one of my core beliefs is like going through something as a sponge, soak up as much info and intellect as much as you can and just sprinkle it out when you have the chance to. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, I love that. Speaking of all of these different results and proud moments, which are phenomenal, I also know that you both have referred people to the gym. And I don't even know if you realize who you have referred has not been necessarily like direct. Like, well, of course, Natalie referred Julia. She brought her to that special workout that day, which is awesome. But then there's been people that come in and are like, well, I went to, I think it was one of them she had said, "I went to high school with Natalie,
Mm.
and I saw her post and, like, her results are amazing. I'm just gonna come in and see what this place is all about." And then another woman, came in a few weeks ago and said that you were talking to her at Pandora, that's not even close to here. It's up in Rosemont, but, like, then she decides to drive to Chicago to come here. So that to me is so cool, and I
Yeah.
appreciate the positive word of mouth that you both are spreading. What specifically makes you wanna share that with other people? And not only to be like, because you could easily just say, "Yeah, these are my results and I'm awesome," right? But you're always tagging the gym, which is so appreciated, and, also telling people, "You've gotta come check us out."
Mhm.
What makes us different in that aspect to where you want to include us in your progress?
I definitely just say it's the community, like
Yeah.
the
Oh
all
my
women
god.
environment. Like, I'll give
Literally.
a quick story time, but I went out to Michigan to visit my boyfriend, and obviously we don't have this location. I wish it was all around the country, honestly. And I had to go to a larger format gym. I won't say the name, but I just felt so out of place. Like, it was like so much going on at the same time. A lot of people, you don't know if people eyes are on you or doing something the right way, which I know I am, but I think just that alone, it's the environment. It's, when you go into a place, what are the vibes that you're giving out? And, every time I walk into this place, I just feel welcome. Like, I know that we're all working towards different goals, but we're all working towards it together. And you never feel any judgment. And the coaches here,
Yeah.
I mean, are amazing. Like,
Yeah.
another quick story time, real quick, but I'd say a few weeks ago before I went on vacation in Michigan, I went on a team meeting and I think I pushed myself a little too hard. And I recognized that at the end and I felt a little dizzy. And I remember call Coach Ollie. And right from then and there, she took care of me. Like she gave me a protein drink. Like from that, like 15 minutes just from that, I already felt so much better.
Mhm.
So I think you just don't find those people anywhere.
Like, some people be like, "She'll be okay." Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's very
Literally.
rushed or it's very corporate-y and it's
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, I agree with everything she said because it's number 1, I remember my first class here that I took, and it's, like, really awkward to come here on your first day, you don't know who you don't know anybody,
Mhm.
and everybody here is just so kind and positive. Like, I literally Tracy came back from, her maternity leave, and
Yeah,
she
we
was
have
doing
babies now.
chin-ups. She had a whole baby, she's doing chin-ups, and we were all like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," like, "Awesome," right? And she messaged me later that night, and she's like, you guys are the best, like, you guys amp me up, like."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Dude, that's what we all do
Yeah.
here." Like, there's no negativity, there's no cattiness, and I think that's amazing because you could go into a room and feel energies instantly. Like, I'm a big
Mhm.
energies person, and me and her literally walk in here, we could even come without each other, and it's just
Yeah.
like, we don't need each other to work out to feel comfortable, if that makes sense, like,
Yeah.
because we know each other, you know?
Mhm.
I'm big on that. The positivity is amazing here. We meet everybody here. Everybody is so nice. There's no like judgment. There's no jealousy. Like everyone's like, you look amazing. Like we all empower each other, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I
And
recommend people
inspire.
here. That's literally why I recommend people here. Cause I'm like, oh, you may not have the tools, but you will. You'll get there. And you're
Yeah.
also going to meet amazing people that'll help you along the way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and I think to add on to
Seriously.
that, like, you get, like, the bang of your buck, like, 2 different format gyms, like, Berwyn is more of like, you can go in and do it yourself, and then when you come here, you really want the classes, like, you have
Yeah.
the world is your oyster in that sense, and
Mhm.
you have so many different options, so I think that's really good to have that gym format
'Cause some
and
people are very shy and they're not
yeah,
they're like, "Oh my god, I," like how you said, "If I how do I look when I'm doing this workout?"
yeah.
That's why we like working out at both locations because we see a little with 2 different worlds, but they all align and they serve
Mhm.
its own purpose, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's cool too, being a women only gym, you would assume that they're just full of ladies, like there is
Yeah.
some cattiness and stuff, but I truly can attest to that there's not because
Yeah, honestly.
we won't have that.
No,
That's
nothing,
not our
yeah.
culture, that's not the tone that we're trying to set or the environment that we're trying to have, and it's even though both locations have their own, like, personalities,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they both have that in common, and
Mhm.
that's something, that I think is so cool. Just we have a diverse group of women at both locations, and I think because of that, that really fuels this awesome environment because, like you guys said, everyone's here for the same reason, and no
Mhm.
one's here in competition. It's here to be like, "Wow, that is amazing, the results
Mhm.
that you've gotten. Thank you for inspiring me,"
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's so cool.
It's very positive too.
Mhm.
That's such a
Mhm.
big thing, in your journey when you're like trying to lose weight and be healthy is just like your support around you. Like for instance, back to earlier what we were talking about, I think that's why her and I work well together because me and her we're together a lot of the time, but we also influence each other to make healthier and better
Mhm.
decisions, you know? Like, I'm not eating poorly, she's not eating poorly, and if I do eat poorly, we'll usually maybe, like, have a cheat day together or vice versa, but I just think that positivity goes a long way. That could really change somebody's mindset with a lot of things, especially over here, but
Yeah.
that's I highly agree sorry.
Yeah.
I highly agree with that, though, like, we have such a good support system here.
Mhm.
Everything is, like, so positive. That's why I love recommending people to this place because 'cause I'm like, "You guys will love it."
Yeah. And so let's say someone is on the fence about coming in. They say, I'm not strong enough yet. Or what we hear sometimes is, I need to like get fit before I do that.
Mhm.
And sometimes I struggle with what to say to them because it's like, no, that's our job is to get you to be fit. Like
Yeah.
everyone starts somewhere and we can accommodate and stuff like that. But what would you guys say to someone who's on the fence that's like, I don't belong in that yet. I'm not strong enough yet.
How do you know? Like, how do you know if you don't
Right, until
try?
you try.
Yeah,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I just keep going back to, like, my very first workout, and I'm like, "Huh." I just remember feeling all of that, and it just takes time,
It's an uncomfortable what is that?
Be
Growth is an
comfortable,
uncomfortable process, you know?
yeah.
And there is no right or wrong way how to start a journey, right? You just kinda do it and then one day you're like, "Oh, wow, I'm doing it," you
Yeah,
know? Like, how do you know literally, how do you know until you do it?
yeah,
Because 'Cause I'm sure you've met people here that have started and they're like, "Yeah, this is nice, but this is not maybe not my thing. This is not
Mhm.
my." And then there's people that come here and they're like, "Oh my god, I love it," you know?
Yes.
So that's the thing. It's like a shoe size. It's not gonna fit everybody, but it might fit you. You know
yeah.
what I mean? But I agree. How would you know until you don't? I mean, if you try it and you're like, nope, this isn't for me, then okay, at
I
least you tried it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
definitely think, like, when I first started out and started doing, like, our private sessions, I say give yourself 6 weeks to build a habit.
Yeah.
Give yourself 6 weeks because once you're at that point, you're just gonna wanna keep going.
Mhm.
So if you can at least give yourself a timeline, at least give yourself that and work off of that because you won't know until you get towards, like, the 6-week period where you're like, "I can keep going." And once you feel like that, that's where the motivation and that dedication really is born. So I think from there, give yourself a timeline.
I
Don't
think
just
that's
do one and
important.
done.
I think that took it's a side note with that. I think that's important because I remember in the beginning of her journey, like we were talking about how different our bodies are, right? Like how we're still different. I lost the weight a little bit faster than she did, and she would be like, "Wow, when am I gonna have my moment?" And I would always tell her, "Within time, you're gonna get there." Because you say that a lot of people are like, "Well, I don't see results right away." Like you literally have to just like one day you're gonna look in the mirror and be like, "Wow,
Mhm,
I'm losing weight finally," or
Mhm.
"Wow," So
Mhm.
I agree with all that.
I think just set realistic expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SMART goals, as
Yeah.
they call them.
Smart goals.
No,
Just say that
Yeah.
something. I absolutely agree. And just part of SMART goals is realistic,
Mhm.
yeah,
timely. Yeah, all the things.
100%.
Two more quick questions for you ladies. So, if you could describe your experience here at W3 Body in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
So empowering, consistent, And then this is 2 words, but I always tell people, "Are you locked in?" Because that's literally all I tell myself, and I change my whole mindset with that. Like, I'll be like, "Are you locked in?" Like, me and my boyfriend are always like, "Are you locked in?" You know? But, like, right? Because it's, like, literally just lock in.
Is that a lyric?
Yeah, I no,
Oh.
yeah, because I was like, "Dude, you have to really lock your own mindset into this. This is like a whole lifestyle
Yeah.
change. This is not something you do for, like you said, 6 weeks, and then you're like, "Okay, I got the results, I'm done." Like me, in the beginning of my phase, I literally had to lock into being and tell myself, "This is gonna be a whole lifestyle change for me," like, to be consistent, to eat better, like, "Oh, okay, I lost this weight. I can't bounce back to my old routine of doing things," you know? So for me, being consistent and just showing up, that's the big, big thing. I know you said 3 words. I could, like, say 5. Honestly, that's how my mindset feels because, dude, the mind's a powerful thing.
Yes. Yeah, it
And
controls everything.
and if you tell yourself, "Hey, I could do this, I could do this." You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I definitely say so they're more like quotes. So first one, trust the process.
Yep.
I think that's just with anything that you're just going through in life. So when it comes to working out, just trust the process. It might not happen, but when you look back at old photos of yourself, you'll be like, damn. Like
Me and her do that all the time. I'm like, "Oh my
and
god."
then second, I heard a lot of coaches say this and it really stuck with me, but movement is medicine.
Mm.
So I think keeping that in mind, like it doesn't always have to be medicine for your body, but it's more medicine for your mind. If I ever feel like I'm going through a rough period or I just need it means I just need to move. And I
Yeah.
think this place is a
Yeah.
really good reinforcement of that.
Yeah.
So
I agree with Madison. I feel like I should be taking notes. You guys said some really amazing things. So finally, what does being a strong woman mean to each of you right now in this season of your lives?
I think
Real deep.
yeah.
I think that to be a strong woman means that you're willing to not know what you're putting yourself into. Like, you're like the situation is very new for us when we started. So we've developed a lot of strong habits mentally. I mean, she even said mental health is very important. So that's improved her, I feel like, tremendously.
Mhm.
My sleep, because I work all nights usually. So this literally helps me start my day productively. So I feel stronger mentally, physically, and emotionally too. Because once you kind of put yourself in these uncomfortable like scenarios of working out and like, we're learning something very new. Like overall, I just think that to be strong, you kind of have to know it may not always be like that every week. Like some weeks I'm tired. Some weeks I'm like, oh my God, I have all the motivation in the world. But I just feel like to be strong, you just have to keep it going. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, because obviously me and her will have our moments sometimes, right? Where we're like, oh my God, but we always show up. Because that's strong enough to come in and be like, oh my God, like I'm tired. I have a long day of work, but I'm still going to get my workout in.
Yeah.
Hardest part's getting
Even
there.
like I work on traditional 9 to 5, so very different from her schedule. And like
Which is great. This is like a good thing because she works mornings, I work all nights. I'll start my day, but I'm telling you, once I start my day with a workout, I'm up for the rest of the day.
yeah.
I'm more productive. I'll get up. Like, don't you feel like
Yeah,
that?
even, like, when I
You
come
know?
home from the office, like, I want a brain rot, like, I can't think of doing anything, but I'm like, "Okay, I know I need to show up for my workout," and once I do and I leave the workout, clarity comes back to me,
Yeah.
and then I do feel a lot more relaxed, and I sleep better, and I can just relax
Mhm.
after doing that, so it's like a pick me up, but then it also just makes me, like, feel like I'm on a cloud at the end
Yeah,
of the day,
that's
so
awesome.
but I think to add to what she was saying, I think confidence. I keep going back to the word confidence because we have the ability, and if anyone has the, accessibility, but also physical capability to continue pushing themselves in the ways that, we do here, then I feel like just the confidence grows. It
And then
just
that
makes
that
you
makes you a
think.
stronger person there too,
Yeah, it
you
makes you
know?
think that
Yeah.
you can do anything. So I
Mhm.
think when you walk into a room, you're like, I worked on myself. Like, if
Yeah.
I haven't seen you in months and you look at me now, like, there's a difference, but you can see the dedication
Mhm.
from there. So I think confidence is just, to me, what it means to be a very strong woman. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Wow. Well, thank you both so much for being here and for sharing your journeys about your consistency and your energy, and of course, your encouragement towards each other, towards yourself, and towards the other members. And it's what makes our W3 Body community so special. And to anyone listening, if you're looking for that push, that support, or that sign to start, maybe this was it.
Mhm.
Whether it's with your sister, a friend, or just for yourself, stronger is always possible. Be sure to follow the show, leave a review, and if you want to try our 4-week trial, head to w3body.com if you're in the Berwyn area, or train at w3body.com if you're in the Elmhurst area. See you next time on Real Women, Real Results. Thanks for tuning in to Real Women, Real Results. If you loved this episode, be sure to follow the podcast and leave a review. It helps more women find these powerful stories. If you're local and want to join our gym, check out our 4-week trial. Head to train at w3body.com for more info. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, w3body_Berwyn and w3body_Elmhurst for more strength, support, and community. See you next time.